Hi, I'm Bart Hanson, the owner and operator of CrushLivePoker.com. The following hand comes from our call-in show that we record at 4:45 p.m. Pacific Time every Monday. If you want to call in your hand, check out the phone number in the description.
I do. It's
Okay.
a 2-5, 1,000 cap.
Okay.
Villain just sat like 3 hands earlier. Have never played with him before, so I got zero information.
Okay.
He bought in full. He was down about 200 after the first 2 or 3 hands.
Okay.
No showdowns.
Yep.
Under the gun limps. I'm under the gun +1 with kings. I make it 25. Villains in the low jack calls, as does the button. So we see the flop four-way.
So villain one, low jack calls, button calls, and the limper calls too.
Yes.
Is that right? And the limper's got what, like 700 or something?
800.
800. Okay. All right. Cool. I got it.
All right, 100 in the middle. Flop comes out 8, king of clubs, 4 clubs.
8 of clubs, king of clubs, 4 clubs.
No, the 8 is an offsuit.
Oh, so you
I
got
don't remember
top set. Okay. Yep.
that. And a very dry board except for the naked flush draw, right?
Right. Sure.
The first player checks.
Mm-hmm.
I bet 50 into 100.
Yeah, I like that.
I
I mean, I think that you can probably get away with a smaller bet if it's more short-handed, but I mean, it is 3 or 4-handed. Like I said, I mean, the concept of betting really small is to sometimes balance when you might be betting your backdoors, like Queen Jack suited with the suit of the 8 or something like that, and it gives you a cheaper price on the bluff. Here, you pretty much crush the board. I mean, I definitely don't mind 50, and I think that you don't really have to worry about the small sizing and balance. The lower you play, the more you can skew towards unbalancedness with your value hands. So you bet 50.
Okay.
Yep.
And the villain calls, everybody else folds.
So he calls next to act,
Right.
right? So that's obviously important positional awareness.
Correct, because there's a couple of players left to act behind them.
Sure, unless he's like a total crazy fish, you don't think he's going to call with 4 or 5. It's obviously much different if the limper who's closing the action might be able to call a little bit wider, getting 3-1. But this should be the most sign of strength when next to act calls here.
Yes, I know nothing about this except his appearance is a little sloppy.
Okay.
Whether that fits his play style or not, we'll find out, right? So now there's 200 in the middle.
Okay.
The turn is an ace of clubs.
Okay, so the front door comes in and you block a lot of the kings, and we said that he would probably ditch a lot of hands that are below a king. So you've got 3 of the kings in your hand, or you block a lot of the kings, right? And it would be, likely that he would have a king or a flush draw. So that's not going to be a great card for you, not only because he might have a flush now, but it's going to be very hard for him to obviously, continue on with some sort of hand, with some sort of weakish value hand.
Right. I mean, he could have ace 8, ace 4, possibly.
Yeah, I guess it's possible, yeah.
Yeah. So it's but do you bet there or do you check?
I gotta be honest with you, I would probably check here. If he's calling with King Jack, King 10, the offsuit ones, I mean, I guess could be as many as 8 combos, but I just think that specific card too, if you want to sometimes bet clubs on the turn with top set, I think that's fine, but I think this is probably one of the worst ones to bet because a lot of the inferior hands just fold out now too.
I did bet smallest. I bet 100
So you bet 100 into 200?
into 200, right?
Uh-huh.
And now the villain raises to 4.25.
See, the thing here is that even before villain raises to 425, even if he weren't to, let's say he just called, right?
Right.
Would you be like, wouldn't you start to be concerned with your hand? Like, let's say he's not going to raise all his flushes on the turn. I mean, and that's why I think that this falls into a check on the turn, because I don't want to get myself in a situation where I bet and when I'm called, I think that there's a very good chance that I'm beat. And that's why that ace of clubs is kind of a special club, because it just gets a lot of other hands to fold out. You know what I mean? Like if you bet again on the turn and he had like king jack with like the jack of diamonds, he might not even call, right? So if I bet again on the turn and the guy calls on an ace turn that doesn't really connect with the board all that much in any real way, also especially with positional awareness where ace 8 and ace 4 is a little bit of a stretch calling next to act. I mean, I guess it's possible, but that's why I probably would check that card. But so he raises to 425, and now you just have a probably a question of pot odds here, right?
Yeah. Well, my thought on both why I bet and also why I try to make my decision on his raise
Hmm.
is that with that ace of clubs coming and the king of clubs being on board,
Yep.
he doesn't have a whole lot of flush combinations. He actually has more set combinations for the eights and the fours.
I mean,
Not that he'd play him that way.
I don't know if that's not. I mean, I know. I think what you're getting at is that at this level, a lot of people play ace x suited. So if a flush card
Yes.
came in on the turn and it was a low flush card like a deuce of clubs, he would have a lot of flushes because a lot of these guys will just call with any ace x suited, right? So
Right.
when the ace of clubs comes, obviously he can't have ace x suited, but I mean, he can still have queen jack, queen 10, queen 9, and what about all the suited connectors? 9, 10 of clubs, 7, 9, jack 9. I mean, there's only 6 combos of 8s and 4s out there. I think that's probably not necessarily true what you're saying. And then there has to be some frequency that he's going to raise sets on a two flush board with the two people behind him too. So I do actually think that I mean, when he's raising here, I'm pretty sure he's got a flush. And the question now is that when you bet 100 into 200, pot now is 3, he makes it 425, so it's 725, 325 for you to call. He has what, 300 left probably in his stack?
Yeah, just
So,
under 275.
so 300, well, 325 to call for 725, and then he's got another 300, so it's like 300 for 1,000 maybe. If you
Right.
look at it, if you bet the river and get called, so if the board pairs and you bet the river and get called, it looks like you're gonna make about 3.5 to 1 on your money. The odds of boating up, you've got 10 outs on the turn, right? 44
Right.
unseat cards, 3.4. You're just about there. And then of course there's
Yeah.
the occasional time that you do have the best hand. It goes check check at the end. So I think you can call, and then at the end, if you check and he moves all in for 300, yeah, it's pretty gross. Um, I don't know if you're going to be good there. I mean, I know it kind of sucks. Like you're going to be getting like 4 to 1 or something like that. But what was your thoughts here? What did you do?
Well, I thought I actually gave him a little bit more combos of non-flush hands
Yeah.
that he might.
Hmm.
Like if he did pull some of the sets, he may have tried to slow play it and poorly.
Uh huh.
I'm not saying that's the line, but this is too broad, right?
Yeah.
So I gave him like 50% of those combos, and
Okay.
then I gave him 6 or 7 of the flush combos, thinking that he's not going to play the lower half gappers. But again, I don't know this guy from Adam, right?
Okay.
Um, so I gave him a little bit more. I gave me a little bit more favorable spot
Uh huh.
rather than just a flush, which I don't know if that's fair or not. One of the reasons why I'm calling this in. And then I had to decide: do I call or just stick it in there?
I don't
And I
think
decided
sticking. I don't think. Did you stick it in?
no, I called.
Okay. Yeah, because I was gonna say like remember if you stick it in, you're giving yourself worse pot odds. If you're sticking it in here, you're basically saying that, hey, I'm good more than 50% of the time on the rest of the money. And I just don't think that's the case um, when he calls next to act and raises turn. So you make the call. So now what? The pot is about 1,000, right?
Right, and I thought, yeah, some of his holdings too is a king plus a club,
Uh huh.
right? And then he might be doing, so if a fourth club hits, I was going to, check fold the river. You have to call on the turn,
Okay.
because then I don't beat hardly anything, right?
So where you go to the river.
Go to the river. River is probably the second best card in the deck. Appears the board, but appears the ace. So
Okay.
now the only thing I lose is the one combo of ace king that's out there.
Okay.
Right? So I went for a check call again, and I checked. He stuck the rest in, and I called.
Ooh, I don't know if I would check call there. That would
You
be
would just
because
bet.
no, because your hand looks a lot like ace king. It's a disaster if he checks back the river with a flush.
Yeah,
you have to bet. You said he's got what, 250 or 300 left on the river, right?
right, 275. Well, I cover him. He's got 275 left.
I would definitely put that in at the end. No way I'm gonna check there and let a flush check behind. But so the villain did shove.
He did, yeah.
Yeah. And what did he end up with?
Something that I never even considered as a total bluff right from the get-go.
Okay.
Queen of Hearts, seven of spades.
Queen of Hearts, seven of spades. Well,
Yeah,
that's crazy. I
yeah,
mean, obviously you can't fold hands to that guy anymore, but I mean that's going to be an outlier, Dave, because I mean that's absolutely
right.
nothing. Um, and it would have ended up that you would have won more money than I would have because I would have shoved at the end. But the way this hand is played out, though, for the most part, I think you have to bet on the river. So,
Okay.
anyways,
And
thanks.
you prefer a check on the turn.
I do. I just think it hits his range a little bit too hard, and or we're just gonna lose. We're just way ahead or behind here, specifically
Uh,
with the ace of clubs. So thanks for the call, Dave. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Bart.
All right, guys. Hey guys, if you like what you've seen here, please click on the subscribe button and you'll get notified every time we put up a new video. And if you want to check out crushlivepoker.com for the first month free, use the code YTA100. Click on the link right there.